The internet's a big place. There's lots of stuff, lots of little places, and it's there because there was a need to connect different resources around the world so that people could use those resources for research and for communications. But there is an awful lot of stuff, so there's a need to be able to sort things out. If you look at the resources around the internet, it's really made up of a bunch of sites and pages in those sites. And those pages have content that's of relevance to different people, and they want to be able to find them. Those sites may be made up as repositories of information of different types of resources, like copies of books, research reports, different types of listings of images and music, videos, etc. There may also be directories where the site is a bunch of pages that actually point to other sites. Yahoo, Bing, Google, a number of large companies prepare and manage sites such as directories. There's also a considerable amount of information that is maintained through the social sites, which would include not only things like Facebook, but things like Tumblr, WordPress.org, and other repositories of blogs. To be able to find all of these things, you really need search engines. You need some way to be able to identify what you want to look for. Going to a directory may not be enough because the directory will not be able to contain in one place an easy way to be able to find everything that you would be looking for if you knew how to look for it. So search engines provide that type of a service where they let you use normal language to find those types of items. What the search engines do is they help you find stuff. They do that by indexing all of the materials that they can find, and they find those materials by going around the internet, or what's called crawling the pages, and taking the information from those pages and identifying on the pages the relevant information. And that would be based on the text that's there, the types of files that might be referenced from that page, and the namings, and as I said, the content that's on the pages. And what the search engines do is they provide an easy way for you to look at that interface. They provide you an easy way to think about or find that information by putting in a query, by using natural language, by using some simple logic to say, I want this, but I don't want that. They also provide a quick way to create relevant information and relevant results. And they do this by taking the indexed content and verifying whether or not it's related to other similar content and whether or not they're cross-referenced. This allows the search engine to be able to say it's of value in this particular topical area. But the search engines don't do that just for giggles. They do that because they make money on ad space. And if you look on the search engines, when you go to find something, you'll find usually that the different sections of the pages that they report results on have advertising on them. Now, to provide you with good information, what they have to do is they have to create those indexes of the content by using keywords, because that's what you use to try to find that content. For example, if you are looking for research on MRI machines, you would type in MRI machine, or you would type in expensive MRI machines or hospital MRI machines. And so within the search engine, the way that they create these indexes is they look around the internet, find different pages with different words on them that they identify as having additional value, and value meaning that a word like MRI means more than a word like the, or some other small word. They also create this relevance by looking at the content in general. Are the words on the page related to each other in some way? Is this a page that is coherent? They also check to see if the page is relevant in the topical area of the site. So if they go on a site and they find that there's pages about cooking, but the site is supposed to be about MRIs, then there's something that's not quite right, and they calculate a relevance related to that. They also identify whether or not the topics that are on the page And the words, for that matter, are current, meaning that some words, because of what's happening on the internet, the news, and other areas, become more prominent or important because they are current. And so it indexes those words and those pages according to that as well. Like with content and context, there is a valuing that goes on about consistency. Does the page, does the site, do the words, does the whole package of what's being crawled appear to come together? And not only does it come together as it's read now, but does it come together over time? Is this site, is this set of pages related to each other over time, or is something amiss in terms of the sequencing? Again, like with cooking and MRI, if all of a sudden a site is talking about cooking when it was talking about MRI before, there's an inconsistency about that site. The relevance is also calculated by considering the relationships. One of the relationships is the volume of activity of viewing that page. So a page may be quite popular, and so it will be given more credit. And if a site is very popular, it is considered an authority site, that it is relevant to that particular topic. Relationships are also calculated by looking across the internet to see if there's linkages to this site, implying that the site is referenced and therefore is an authority. There's also a considerable amount of quality control that goes on with the search engines. Whether or not you have a relationship that means something over time, quality control is a big issue, because there's a great desire to have pages found and indexed on the internet for commercial value. And so the search engines try to evaluate whether or not a page or the content is relevant to the searches that general people use to find those pages. And so one of the things that the search engines do is they reevaluate the relevance of pages over time to identify whether or not someone is trying to, as they say, game the system to get their page listed higher when it is not necessarily an authority site, or the popularity of that page is actually synthetically produced by creating linkages that are not really relevant to human activity but are done by machine. When it is found that these sites are gaming the system, then the search engines will, by choice, either reduce the relevance of that particular site and page, or they may actually delist the sites. This is not uncommon, and it is something that needs to be considered when you are developing the authority of your site, whether or not the linkages that are coming to your site are relevant and that they make the most sense and will make sense to your search engine indexing. That's how search engines work.